and I'm a family advocacy program specialist here at Joint Base Lewis McChord. As a FAP specialist, I'm a part of the prevention and education team that also includes the New Parent Support Program and the Domestic Violence Victim Advocates. During the month of April, there are several things that are observed, and two of those are Month of the Military Child and Child Abuse Prevention Month. So let's get started with this morning's topic of healthy communication. So what I'll be talking about is the speaker-listener technique. I'll be providing you some rules, and so let's start with one for the speaker. The rule for the speaker is to speak for yourself. Don't mind read. And also allow time for the listener to paraphrase. A rule for the listener is to paraphrase what you hear. Focus on the speaker's message, not in preparation for a rebuttal. And one rule for both is to share the floor. When the speaker is speaking, that's their time. So I've asked one of my coworkers, Wes Davis, to assist me in doing a role play for the speaker-listener technique. If you were in on the Facebook Live last week, Wes's topic was stress management. So here we go with our scenario. As a couple, Wes and I regularly argue about money. Times are tough, and talk of this stimulus check has his emotions way high, especially during this stay-at-home order. I lost my job due to COVID, but I was helping the family out when I was working. So Wes is pretty upset over a surprise transaction on our bank account statement, especially since he says,
"You don't care about how hard I work my butt off for this family. Otherwise, you wouldn't keep spending money that we don't have."
And earlier, Wes said to me,
I see the transaction, the bank account statement. It says that the stimulus check was already spent.
and like I said, I lost my job due to COVID-19. So how can we turn this accusatory or mind-reading you statement into an effective I statement? In other words, how can we reword Wes's you statement into a more effective I statement? I statements focus on how you were affected or how you felt about the situation. So, what I'm going to do is demonstrate what I might say to Wes. What I hear you saying is, because there's a charge that's unrecognizable, then our family and our finances aren't important to me. In using the I statement, I want to share how I felt about it, so I'm going to also add, I feel hurt and disrespected when you don't count me as a contributor to this family. Then I want to add, but Wes, I appreciate you, and I'd like for you to know how important our family is to me. So I've gone over the speaker-listener technique, yet it sounds like this family may need the resource of our financial readiness program. So if there's anyone who needs information about any of our Directorate of Personnel and Family Readiness Services, you may dial area code 253-967-7166. Again, the number for Directorate of Personnel and Family Readiness Information and Referral is area code 253-967-7166. So we've talked about, again, speaker-listener technique. So how can we listen to learn? This approach is effective in all communications, from casual conversations to communicating during conflict situations. I'd like to use the LEARN acronym by starting with the letter L. Lean in. What I mean by that is to physically engage in the conversation, not aggressively being in someone's space. E, elicit. Ask questions to help the speaker express their interest, their points of view, their needs, and their concerns. The letter A, align. Align your common interest. Look for the big picture and find reasons to agree before you disagree, or even before you prepare your rebuttal. The letter R, restate. Previously mentioned during the speaker-listener technique was paraphrase. So here, it's confirming your understanding of what the speaker is saying. What have you learned thus far while listening to learn? And N, now respond appropriately. By that, how can you take the perspective you've gained from the speaker and express your thoughts and feelings in a way that respects the person and values the relationship? Now that we've discussed rules for speaker-listener, gone over ways we should listen to learn, let's discuss if there are barriers to healthy communication. Due to COVID-19 and the stay-at-home, people are having difficult conversations because we're with our partners all the time. And again, emotions may be running a little high. So share your thoughts. So for those of us who are teleworking and dealing with distance learning, what are some ways that you've had to regroup, redefine, and also rethink your space or your platform during COVID-19? Stream not working, someone said. So does that mean environmentally, meaning that noise or the uncomfortable climate and other external distractions? So to overcome environmental barriers, sometimes we have to choose non-threatening environments. So do people have other ways that they've had to deal with the stay-at-home due to the COVID-19? How about social distancing due to our 6 feet of physical distance? In the effort to practice safe distancing between all individuals and decrease the spread of or contracting COVID-19, again, we've had to make changes with how we communicate with folks that are close to us and those that are distant. Virtual meetings. We've had to come up with different platforms. Some of us are using Blackboard. Some may be using Zoom. Some may be using Microsoft Teams. Others may be using Skype. In our virtual meetings, we've also had to, again, have this in an effort to provide opportunities to have local and our distance safe distancing. How about emails? That's another barrier that could be, but it's also one way that we can keep in contact with others, again, locally and for distance learning. Another barrier could be an expectation of outcomes. Sometimes when we have preconceived notions or expectations of how the conversation will go, we may fall into dysfunctional thinking about what the expectation of what the other person might say. Another barrier could be perception of self or others. Extremely high or low confidence in self or regard for others. How about emotions? Strong emotions that prevent the speaker or listener from remaining objective. When it becomes difficult to manage your strong emotions, sometimes we need to consider a timeout or to regroup. And so to help us with more ways of listening habits for our healthy communication, let's think about how often we do the following. Listen to the other person's viewpoint, even if it differs from ours. Another way of being aware of our listening is listen to the whole message, what the speaker is saying, both verbally and non-verbally. Look at the person who is talking. Concentrate on what's being said, even if you're not really interested. And again, repeat in your own words what the speaker has said, paraphrasing, as you'll remember from the speaker-listener technique. And there are different forms of communicating. So in working with young people, due to technology, social media, and overall socialization, many of them have not developed the social skills to politely speak or interact positively with others. We have to model that healthy communication behaviors for our children. How? Fully listen. Don't just pretend to. In our busy day, in our schedules, as we are multitasking, how many times have we heard, "Mom, are you listening? Tell me what I just said." Another way, show the importance of mutual appreciation and respect. Reflect on the different ways that we can use communication as a way to help our children develop into healthy individuals. Finally, consider your current contribution to communication, to those habits, your attitudes and goals. Determine one action you will stop doing because it's ineffective. Perhaps that's avoid distractions. Be available when someone's ready to talk. One action you can start doing to get better results is create a circle of trust. How do you create a circle of trust? Listen. Don't belittle the other person's feelings, and don't embarrass them. And one action you will continue to do because it's working well, remain calm. As I mentioned at the top of my segment, if you're considering, expecting, or enjoying children from ages 0 to 3 and need support services from licensed clinical social workers, registered nurses, or marriage family therapists, please contact our staff at the New Parent Support, area code 253-967-7409. If you know someone who has experienced domestic violence, please call the 24/7 SAFE line at area code 253-966-SAFE. Again, the domestic violence SAFE 9 number is area code 253-966-7233 to reach a domestic violence victim advocate. Thank you for listening, learning, and liking healthy communications. Enjoy your Monday.